This is the call to order of the Las Cruces Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting, Tuesday, November 19th. Mr. Davis, will you please take roll?
Ms. Hall,
I'm here.
Senora Flores,
Here.
Dr. Votaw,
Here.
I'm here, you here, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rounds.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This evening, we have the Nyeta High School Chamber Choir, directed by Ryan Fellman. Now, this is a brand-new group at Nyeta High School comprised of top singers from around the school. They sing a variety of music, from vocal jazz to pop to madrigals and to secular songs from around the world. Their goal is to focus on chamber singing and how their voice relates to the overall blend of the ensemble and to fulfill the needs of the community in whatever capacity might arise. Now, this year, the chamber singers have sung for 5 elementary schools and have taken part in a collaboration at Community Island Middle School. With those choirs. This evening, they'll be singing 2 pieces of contrasting time period, style, language, and geographical areas. The Nyeta High School Chamber Choir.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for having us here today. I'm new to the state, as well as a new teacher. I'm originally from Minnesota, so this is my first year here, so I just wanted to say I'm so blessed to be in a district like Las Cruces, so it's great to be here. This, like Mr. Rounds mentioned, this is a brand new group at Nyeta High School. Nyeta, we started off with 45 singers when I got there, and I'm really proud to announce that by next semester we will for sure have over 70 singers at Nyeta High School. So I'm really excited to see a lot of new things over there. I'm really excited to be working with these brilliant young men and women. So we're going to sing 2.5 selections for you tonight. You'll kind of see how. The first one is one that I arranged, and I think one that you'll recognize.
Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana. Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana. Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana.
Kubabana,
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 Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
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 Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
Kubabana, Kubabana, Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
Kubabana, Kubabana, Aqualesa,
Muyayaya,
Muyayaya, Muyayaya, Aqualesa,
Muyayaya,
Muyayaya, Muyayaya, Aqualesa. Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana. Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana. Ponceaba mupokele la balipele maka kubabana.
Kubabana,
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 Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
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 Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
Kubabana, Kubabana, Aqualesa,
Kubabana,
Kubabana, Kubabana, Aqualesa,
Muyayaya,
Muyayaya, Muyayaya, Aqualesa,
Muyayaya,
Muyayaya, Muyayaya, Aqualesa.
Thank you very much for that performance. Let's give him another round of applause. We'll move on now to the approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for September 13th, 2013 board retreat, the September 17th, 2013 board meeting, and the October 15th, 2013 regular board meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it with the proviso that I'm not Mr. Votaw in the September 17th.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Dr. Vogt?
I just needed, Madam Chair, did you made the changes? Yes, because I had found 2 mistakes,
So there
and so
were some-
they've been changed. Okay, thank you.
very much. Then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? None. Those minutes have passed. Moving on to approval of the agenda this evening, I would like to recommend that we move in the agenda items under public input. I'm going to ask to exchange A and B. We have one person that wants to speak under the agenda items, and I'll put him first, and then we'll hear the rest of the people. So with that one change, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Before we vote, I would like to ask for 2 points of information.
Yes?
Okay, first, at our work session, we agreed to have a resolution of support for our employees on today's agenda. I'm wondering why it is not on the agenda today.
Mr. Davis, we did talk about having that, and you did request that. I didn't hear from other board members whether they wanted that resolution on or not. So when we put this agenda together, I made the decision to move that resolution discussion to our board retreat in December so that we could have the discussion about the resolution in December. And that resolution, that would give us enough time for that resolution still to be passed before the legislative session.
Okay, my second point was, you answered my question whether the resolution would be on the retreat. And I thank you for that we discussed the matter then. And I will propose a straw man for our discussion at that meeting.
Which means,
Pardon?
He'll do a draft.
you'll do a draft for that
Yes,
discussion?
for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, that's great.
And the last point, under the circumstances, I will be voting no on the agenda today.
Okay. And
Madam Chair,
Senora Flores.
the only reason that I agreed with Dr. Phillips on removing it from the agenda is I thought it was incomplete. It only addressed the excess testing. I think there's other, or no, it was the teacher evaluation piece. There's also the issue of excess testing and the high school requirements for graduation, which have been decided by PED and not by our local board.
And-
So I want to see all 3 of them addressed. And that was my reasoning behind that at that point.
I understand that, but I had never heard, I left the meeting with the impression that we were going to have something for discussion tonight. Having said that, we're not. I wasn't told, but I will accept the fact that we need some more
Yes.
discussion, and I will provide a straw man that will include those things.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there any other discussion on the agenda this evening? Then with the one proposed change, I will ask for a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed?
No.
I have one no. Moving on this evening, we have approval of consent agenda items. Under consent agenda this evening, I have 4A1, approval of waiver from prohibited employee procurement participation, MSG. 5A1, approval of property dispositions. 5A2, approval of vendor payments. 5A3, approval of budget increases and adjustments. 5A4, acceptance of donation from Sonoma Elementary PTO. And 5B1, approval of student out-of-state travel. 6B1, third reading and approval of policy IHAM, health education. Are there any, do I have a motion to approve these items?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes.
If I want to make noise, I'm sorry.
Moving on then to public input this evening. We have quite a few public input forms this evening. The board members have agreed to allow each person their 3 minutes, which is what we normally do. So what I'm going to ask people that are speaking, you will have a light and you'll get a warning that you're getting close to your 3 minutes, and then you'll have a sign that your 3 minutes are up. And we did say 2 minutes, but board members agreed to 3, to allow 3 minutes for each person. They have said they're going to speak on different items, so we'll listen to what you have to say to us this evening. And what I'm asking you to do is please pay attention to your 3 minutes and finish your sentence when it's time for your 3 minutes to be up. That will give time for everyone to have time to speak this evening. And we have changed the agenda so that the person that has a discussion on an agenda item that is on our agenda this evening, which is the acceptance of the donation from the Sonoma PTA, Mr. Adam Shirvanek, would you please come forward?
Adjust his mic. Got it?
Hello, my name is Adam Shervanek. I am currently a 6th grader at Lynn Middle School, but I attended Sonoma Elementary for 6 years. When I was in 5th grade, I participated in the annual jogathon. I worked hard at it, both in running and gathering pledges. I ended up earning $256. When I learned that the track was not built yet, I decided to come. I think that other students worked hard and we would all like to see the track built. I'm only a student, but I hope my presence had some effect.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Adam, and I will let you know that under our consent agenda this evening, we accepted that donation, so thank you. We will move on now to our other public input. I'll begin with Bruce Hartman. Please come forward, state your name, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Before you speak, Mr. Hartman, I would like to remind everyone that it is the board's practice not to respond to or take any action on statements made during public input. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Grounds.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
That'll be better. Just
Okay.
raise the mic. For
Better?
There you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Larry.
I'm Bruce Hartman, and I'm one of the diagnosticians for Las Cruces Public Schools. I'm a relative newcomer to New Mexico. I've worked all over the place. I actually moved to New Mexico to work at the Public Education Department. I worked there for almost 5 years when I first moved here. And this is my 43rd year working in the field of special education. I'm not going to talk about testing. What I wanted to discuss is a few things about poverty. I know that the teacher evaluation is a big deal this year, and 50% is based on teacher test scores. And one thing that we forget about is the degree of poverty that we have in New Mexico, and more specifically here in Doña Ana County. The percent of families living in poverty in Nyeta County, according to the last census, was 25.6%. That's families. And based on the 120-day count from last year, 3/4 into the year of last year, an aggregate percentage for Las Cruces Public Schools, 65.52% of our student body is at or below the federal poverty level. I mean, every year we constantly hear about how poor New Mexico is doing on their achievement tests, and compared to other states. I just looked at the 2013 results from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, which is a national test that they take throughout the United States. It's kind of spotty. I'm sure we had some schools here that took it last year. I looked at 3 of the states that were at the bottom with the percentage of students that were proficient, and those were New Mexico, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And Mississippi and New Mexico have 2 of the highest percentages of students in poverty in the United States. And I just wanted to, I compared Finland, and Finland is supposed to have a very high-ranking educational system. They only have 3% of their students that are in poverty, and they have a 93% high school graduation rate. So poverty is a big risk factor that does affect 2/3 of our students, and that gravely impacts student achievement. Thank you.
Next, I have Michaela Richardson.
Does that work?
It's good.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michaela Richardson. I'm a junior at Mayfield High School, and I have this letter. It starts, "Dear school boards everywhere, I hate this stupid testing. None of you have ever thought about our future, or your kids' future for that matter. Without us, the world would fall apart. Not that it already isn't. But if you would just realize that the money we get from this stupid testing just gets blown off in central office on new couches and apparently isn't worth anything to us as students. All you people think about is better test scores. The only thing we ever hear about in schools anymore is about testing, and that's all we're ever prepared for. Apparently we don't need a future. Apparently we just need to take tests and everything and act like everything is okay. I'm starting to think that the only reason you are in these offices is because you failed your tests, and you are trying to find ways for people to follow in your footsteps. We want to make our own paths for a better future, which seems that you don't believe in. And this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. You don't even realize what this does to our teachers. They actually care. They know what's happening in America, and they know what they do with us is aiming us towards a better future. The world is a pretty sick place sometimes, and it is up to our generation to change it. I'm a 4.0 student involved in several clubs and tons of extracurricular activities. I don't enjoy school anymore like I used to. I do my work and I work hard, but I realized that I'm learning stuff I will never use. And for what? If this test helps me get into college, then why am I not learning stuff for college? You people stress out so many kids because they think that this testing matters so much when it doesn't. The test is only for you to get money and show numbers like it actually matters. Teachers stress out because they have to put up with this test for a week, and they go to meetings constantly, spend only their time teaching for the test. I know you think that you can just blindfold people's eyes and act all slap happy with how amazing our schools are, when really they aren't that amazing. And I wonder why high school dropout rates are increasing. Maybe it's because students are tired of testing. Should I go on? I honestly hope this makes you look bad, because teachers are thinking the same thing, but some are so afraid to lose their jobs and put up with this miserable system. The students are miserable. And some days, I just want to stay home and work on bigger and better things that will take me further. But what do you care as long as you get your new upholstery? As students leave because they can't put up with this anymore, for absolutely no reason at all, I hope you are ashamed of yourselves, because this is all just wrong. You wouldn't know anything about education if it hit you in the face. Spend one day in a classroom teaching and see how crappy the system truly is. Fix your mistakes because it's led us into a hole. Sincerely, a student of the Las Cruces Public Schools.
Melissa Molinax.
Good evening, everyone. I thank all of you for being here to challenge the Common Core narrative of universal contentment. In our communion tonight, we begin the long and painful march toward challenging the systems of power that have stolen our autonomy, our dignity, and our voices. I entreat those holding elected positions of power and those employed in powerful positions by those elected to serve our district to stand with us. Join us, teachers, students, parents, and citizens, in resisting the domestication and indoctrination of our children into a system which equates them with lifeless data and robs them of their curiosity, autonomy, and humanity. Choose humanity, not Pearson VUE or Race to the Top or Common Core or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or whoever tries to utilize our children as another vehicle for exploiting profit. Join us in asserting that students are not for sale. We will not allow bloated business or predatory nonprofits or data points or classist politicians to tell us there is something wrong with our children. There is nothing wrong with our children. There is nothing not proficient about thousands of wide-eyed and often hungry children and young adults that move through our school buildings every day. There is something seriously wrong with us for continuing to subject them to standardized testing and other means of social control that only reproduce the same social inequalities that bind our youth in the realm of failure, not proficient, and dropout. Our denial that such problems exist render us complicit in a system that will enslave our future generations to corporate coercion. Our silence reflects our own cowardice, our own enslavement to a system that empowers us at the price of our voice, at the price of our dissent. Shame on us for abdicating responsibility. Shame on us for expecting discipline, dedication, and courage from our students, but allowing ourselves the excuses of powerlessness. Our silence will not protect us, and more importantly, our silence will not protect the people that fill our classrooms. Corporations will turn record profits, privatizing our school systems and our minds for their own benefit. They arm themselves with the dictatorship of data and reams of redundant research that attempt to intimidate us into compliance. We must resist the bombardment of bureaucratic mandates that suggest our students' only value manifests itself onto sterile spreadsheets, subjugated to state power. We are all afraid, and we are all constrained. Only through a coordinated movement, stitched in solidarity and laced with an unwavering commitment to one another, can we begin to push against the walls of confinement. Our children are much more than a number, and so are we. Members of the board, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanchez, I invite you to join us in solidarity. We dissent with or without permission, and we will not be silenced. Thank you.
Chris Nielsen.
Good evening, I'm Chris Nielsen. Can you hear me? Okay. I just moved back home to Las Cruces after a 10-year absence, and the place looks great, by the way. Very nice. I was born here, I went to University Hills Elementary, I went to Lynn Middle School, and I graduated as a Bulldog. I've been to many places since then. I've taught in many places. I've had kids go to many different schools. And I also helped organize the largest parent uprising in America, which was the refusal movement in New York State, where tens of thousands of parents did and will continue to refuse to take state tests. And you know what? Now that I'm home, I realize that my home is in trouble. The Common Core, the state tests, I'm not going to get really into that stuff. The junk science of VAM and teacher evaluations, the school grading system, I won't even spend any time on that mess. But the important concern that we have, and I'm here mostly as a parent because I do have kids in public schools. I have a very young one who's going to be coming up into preschool, and I don't want my preschooler taking tests. But we're most concerned as parents, teachers, and students with the future of our children and the happiness that school used to give them. We keep hearing that this is going to prepare them for college and career. We've done enough research to realize that that means nothing. Those words have been clarified through us through research. What about allowing our kids to develop meaningfully, for meaningful and happy lives? Remember that word happy? They want to live in a world where they have a foundation and a mind and creativity to do whatever they want to do, wherever they want to do it, and be whatever they want to be. And narrow standards and more tests don't provide that. No, that just leads them through a public school career full of frustration, stress, heartache. We know that the tests do nothing for these kids, but they're simply designed to unfairly evaluate their teachers. Sorry, but that's the truth, and it's not okay. Our kids have become pawns. They've become guinea pigs. And they can feel the pressures of this system regardless of their age. Kindergartners hate leaving the house. Fifth graders cry every night. High schoolers are dropping out so they can get their GEDs and go to college. Think about that for a minute. That's not okay. It's my mission now that I'm home to join with my fellow parents in my home city in a collective action. We will refuse PED's tests. We will demand that our schools serve our kids, not corporate interests. Teachers will also rise, and they will take back their profession so that they can do what they love to do, which is teach our children. If you have questions or you want to get more from me, I'll be hanging around. Thank you.
Nidish Narula.
Good evening. This is specifically to the board and to the superintendent and everybody on the stage. I represent a group called PASS, People Against Standardization of Students. Some of you may have already heard of this. But I'm also here to talk about a specific issue. We're also people against the standardization of dissent, criticism, and dialogue. We complied with your requirements of being part of today's agenda. We were denied, not with an explicit response of denial of access. I give you that, but with an implied message, which I take as silence and conformity. A response that said our concerns are known, nothing new, and not worthy of public dialogue. We agree with the first two accusations. Our concerns of standardization are known and nothing new. Teachers and students who experience the barrage of standardization are overwhelmingly opposed to it. This opposition is a struggle experienced by the marginalized throughout history and throughout the world. However, it is the last accusation that I want to bring to light, that our concerns are not worthy of today's dialogue or today's meeting. This denial represents precisely the denial of access, the walls of exclusion that separate those who have from those who don't, those in power from those they oppress. I'm willing to recognize your individual attempts to reach out and break such walls. I am willing to recognize that. But if collectively, you, the board, the superintendent, everybody on the stage, cannot include us in your agenda, then you have failed us. In light of this denial, I would like to make a motion on record to initiate a public forum where parents, teachers, students, and the concerned public can interact and communicate with the school board regarding testing and the high stakes it brings to the table. I request your involvement and your assistance in setting up this forum before the semester ends. Thank you so much, and season's greetings.
Terry Dahlman.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I am a bilingual teacher at Zia Middle School, and I have been teaching for 14 years in a bilingual setting. Besides being a bilingual teacher, I am a daughter, a mother, a grandmother, and lastly but not, I service my kids. That is my passion. What I am not is a robot. I am a real person. And because of that, I care a lot about my students. I care when the students come to me and tell me that they hate taking tests. They hate it because it makes them feel inadequate, belittled, isolated, and never good enough. Consider this. Imagine that you are 11, 12, or 13, and you have been moved to a foreign country. How would you feel being tested and failing every single time in another language? Students don't care anymore about doing well on tests. They're open about it, and they don't hide their feelings. They'll even come up and tell us, "We don't care anymore, Mrs. Dahlman. We just click on whatever." I invite you to visit schools during testing days and gauge the climate. And I also invite you to visit our schools in non-special days. In other words, don't come and visit for story hour. Come and visit when the kids are taking tests. Come and visit and see how everybody is disrupted. Consider subbing for us a couple of days a week and see what the climate is really like at school. And I, too, second the public forum idea. Thank you.
Deborah Romero.
My name is Deborah Romero, and I'm from Mesilla Park Elementary School. I'm a Tier 3 master teacher. I love my job. My first paycheck I got, I just wept. My husband's asking, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I get to teach and I get paid for it." So I'm a happy person. I love what I do, and I appreciate all of the people that are here on the audience and our board members and our superintendent. I really appreciate the hours that you all put in to work hard to help bring betterment to the situation. I really came here tonight to tell you that I have developed night terrors. When usually I would dream things like I could fly, you know, looking down over the earth and seeing everything God created. And I'm just going to tell you one of my developed night terror dreams. I wake up, my heart is pounding, the sheets are twisted, my husband's like, "Get off of me," you know, and I'm crying. I'm just tense, very upset. And this reflects, I believe, the involvement of politics in our classrooms, because as a teacher who loves my job and devoted to my students, I see what is going wrong in the educational arena. No fault of any one person, but it's a broken system. And this is my dream. I was teaching first grade last year when I had my first terror. And it was a wonderful, teachable moment. Everybody was engaged. There was some laughter and there was group talking, and everybody was right where I wanted them to be, you know, in that moment of enjoying what was happening in the classroom. And all of a sudden, my door slams open. And there's 3 men that come walking in. They have black suits and hats. And they start jerking all the books off my bookshelf, all into the floor. And I'm thinking, in my mind, the teacher's mind, you know, you're always thinking, well, can I just let that go and keep this teachable moment? And I realized I was powerless to stop what was happening. And so, you know, I'm just here before you to tell you that what all is going on is craziness. We need more time to teach. We need more time to make applesauce and have the parents come in and taste it. We need to do some other things besides teaching to the test. I'm just concerned about my student, but I thank all of y'all for the work you do to help turn it around.
Hannah Phillips.
I too am a teacher, and I don't know how to follow that. That was got me crying here, but I understand because I'm here to talk to you about specifically end-of-course exams and the way that our end-of-course exams have harmed our students in our schools. And I realize I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but it's taken time away from our instruction time because the kids are pulled out of class to take these tests. They're not allowed to be given by the teacher. The teacher isn't allowed to see the tests. They're secretive. Never mind the fact that I'm going to be evaluated on a test that I never saw. The kids aren't prepared for these tests, and they're losing instruction time, and it's very frustrating. And I implore you to hear what we're saying. We're not against you, but we are against the public education department that's shoving these tests down our kids' throats and down our throats. And like my colleague, I love teaching. I think I'm a good teacher, but I'm not sure how much longer I can do it. Thank you.
Margaret Sanchez Maez.
Hello, my name is Margaret Sanchez Maez. I'm a parent of 3 daughters in the LCPS system, 2 in middle school and 1 high school. And I've talked with you before at a work session, but I just wanted to come again because I feel like I don't know what to do. I feel like it's just so sad. I'm just saddened every day that my kids are having to go through this. This testing is just, it's gotten out of hand. And I understand the importance of tests and evaluation. It is important. Kids need to be evaluated. In my mind, there's 3 tests that I always tell the girls that they need to do well on. One is the PSAT, the ACT, and the SAT. And those are their main tests that they need. But this other stuff isn't doing what it's even supposed to be doing. What if they take the discovery at the beginning and they get 100%? Do they really need to take it 5 more times? They don't let them take the next level, the next grade level, because they're not at that grade level. So I just see a lot of frustration and a lot of sadness. I have girls who love school, that are 3 to 5 grades ahead in all their subjects. And they come home and they say, oh, Mom, the teacher's so stressed out. And they feel it on their shoulders. They feel the weight on their shoulders of their teachers' paychecks, their teachers' scores, their teachers' evaluations. And the teachers, I don't think, are meaning to do it, but they feel the tension and the stress. And I just wanted you guys to know that they love learning. They love it. But when they come home, and they're the high achievers, and they come home and they do it, they jump through the hoops, they do it, but their spirit is getting broken. And I don't want that for them, because these are the kind of kids that can soar really high. And when you see that in the high achievers, what is happening to the lower ones who can't even perform proficient on the tests? So please think about that. It really is an issue. Thank you.
Jessica Blanchard?
Good evening, I'm Jessica Blanchard. I teach at Lynn Middle School and I've been there going on 17 years. And I come to you with not an eloquent letter pre-written, but just with some words of experience. In October, it was October 1st to be exact, I was told by my principal, just stick to the curriculum. This was after we had a conversation in which she was questioning me about some work we were doing in the classroom that I considered to be relationship building with students. And we were sharing some, students and myself, we were sharing together some narratives that they had written in the classroom. And this one morning, my principal says, stick to the curriculum. If it's not on the curriculum pacing guide, do not even go there. So that was October 1st. In that time, and before that time, at Lynn, we have PLCs twice a week. That is for the duration of 2 planning periods. Social studies teachers are required to teach Achieve 3000 every third school day, every third instructional day. That means with 2 PLCs per week, Achieve 3000, you throw in the occasional field trip there, you throw in the occasional reward activity day or special purpose day where our planning period is, for whatever reason, used up. There are weeks where we have only had 1 planning period for the week, if we're lucky. And the pressure that that puts on me, I know is not felt by me alone. I'm hearing in people who have spoken already the pressure of trying to keep up with teaching a curriculum that, I want to use a phrase a colleague of mine said earlier today in our PLC, Lisa Weinbaum sitting back there, she said that it's like we're Nazis marching through the curriculum. And the pressure, the lack of time, I feel at times I don't even have time to tie my shoe. I literally was running down the hallway one day on my way to somewhere else, my shoe's untied, and I got upset about that because I had to stop in the middle of the hallway to take time to tie my shoe. And I thought, I don't have time for this. This week in the classroom, not this week, excuse me, last week, I was listening to a student who's a Native American, and she brought up that she saw an article on Achieve 3000 about Native American Heritage Month. And I said, wow, tell me more about it. And so when she did, I said, you know what? I want to assign that article for our next Achieve activity, which I did. I also had a book at home that I wanted to share with students that talks about Native American culture, and it chronicles a family who is not, the children in the family are multiracial, excuse me. And I thought, how can I tie this to the curriculum so I could share it and tie it in with Achieve? We had a presentation on Friday about pre-adolescent and adolescent suicide and depression. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I tie it in with that? And how can I tie it in? How can I make this book fit the curriculum so that I have all my bases covered? I'm worried about I'm worried about getting observed and the principal saying, this isn't on the curriculum pacing guide. I don't have an eloquent letter to read you. I don't have the time to write one. My request, I'd like to just say, please give us at least another PLC, or take away a PLC period during the week. Let us have another planning, at least one more during the week at Lynn. I don't know about everywhere else if it's that way. Please reconsider the evaluation for us. I don't think that, and I know I don't feel this by myself, I don't think it's fair that our teacher evaluations, we are at risk for using a benefit that is part of our contract, and also that we are at risk for being evaluated by people who aren't necessarily trained to properly evaluate our work as educators in the classroom. So please reconsider your stance on our teacher evaluations. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Irma Valdespino.
Good evening, President Phillips and Dr. Phillips, the board, and Superintendent Rounds. I thought I'd just mention that this week is American Education Week, a week that we should celebrate the gift of learning that we have in this public education system. First and foremost, to value the employees that work in service of our students here in our community and throughout the United States. I thought I'd mention this because I think that it's been taken away this time, the celebration of this week, and I would just like to let you know, in case you had forgotten, that this is American Education Week, and we should also focus on the gift of education, the gift of learning, our teachers, our first and foremost, our students. I wish that I didn't hear all what is being said today. I am a retired employee of 37 years with LCPS, and I had the honor of and the privilege of working with many dedicated and talented teachers throughout my career as an educational assistant. I saw their dedication, their hard work for 37 years. And again, I value that experience that I had because it was a very great experience. But first and foremost, what a fabulous time I had working with bilingual education students and who were immigrant students. Again, we cannot forget this week. It is the week that we celebrate education. Tomorrow especially is the day that we celebrate the value work of our support staff. I will be sending out an email tomorrow to support staff in appreciation of the work that they do behind the scenes. Thank you very much.
That moves us now to recognition. Superintendent Rounds.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'd like to introduce Nyeta Haines to come forward. This evening we have a special presentation from our partners at Comcast Cable. Nyeta.
Thank you, Superintendent Rounds. President Dr. Phillips, board members, Superintendent Rounds, it is a pleasure to be here this evening. We have a very special presentation, and I really celebrate that we are able to do this at this time. I am not alone. There are some board members that are present that I'd like to point out. I think they're here. I have Larry Altamirano, Director. We also have ex officio member Barbara Hall. Stan Rounds is also a member. And behind me is my partner who assists with the foundation with me, and that is Bridget Ziegelhofer. And finally, coming in the door, we have our director, Mike Cook. And to proceed, it's really my honor to present the former executive director of the Las Cruces Public Schools Foundation. I am filling her shoes, and they are big shoes to fill. She's such a wonderful, marvelous, hardworking human being. And it is my pleasure to introduce Leslie Cervantes.
Thank you, Nyeta. Madam President, Mr. Rounds, members of the board. It's just an honor to be here every year to celebrate Comcast and the work they do in our schools and the difference they make, particularly on Comcast Cares Day. Last April, we celebrated our 5th year in partnership with Comcast Cable at Nyeta Elementary School. And I'm so proud to see the staff here with their shirts on and in support and in gratitude to our fabulous partners at Comcast. We have two joining us tonight, Dr. Phillips. We have John Christopher, who's the state director, and Eileen Von Pickrell, who is the community investments manager out of Albuquerque. And they're here to make a check presentation. I'm going to let John just say a few words, but is Bobby Stout here? Yeah, Bobby. I really want to, Dane, in front of you as Associate Superintendent of Operations, recognize Bobby and his crew. Really, Comcast Cares Day, the foundation supports it as much as we can, but it's Bobby's crew at Physical Plant that really get in the trenches to make this a successful day at our schools. And I know that the staff and administration at Nyeta joined me in saying, Bobby Stout's pretty darn awesome, and so is his crew. So. I know that John Christopher does have a special announcement to make. We have a check presentation. We'd like to take a picture. I want to send accolades out to, in front of you, Mr. Rounds, as superintendent, to your administration at Nyeta Elementary. Sherry Love as principal and Annette Otero Nunez as assistant principal are dynamic leaders committed to children and their staff and really to bettering their school. It was an honor, a deep honor to work with each of you on Comcast this year in partnership with the foundation board members. I'm just very humbled by that. But if John and Eileen will join me, we have really great news to celebrate tonight. So, John?
Thank you, Leslie. Madam President, Superintendent Rounds, board members. My name is John Christopher, and I've had the pleasure of working on Comcast Cares Day, as Leslie mentioned, for the last 5 years. Let me just say that on April 27th, and every year, and this year specifically, there were over 60,000 Comcast employees that volunteered on that day across the nation. And so I'm talking about Philadelphia, San Francisco, Chicago, huge cities. And I'm here to tell you that this little town of Las Cruces had more volunteers for Comcast Cares Day than any other Comcast Cares Day project across the country. And to get 1,489 volunteers show up at one place on a Saturday is monumental. And I have to thank everybody here, especially the board members and Superintendent Rounds and Leslie Cervantes, and also Principal Sherry Love, and her staff, who are just instrumental in making this successful. We're a little concerned because Nyeta Elementary is a little bit of a drive, and typically we've had it closer to town. So we're wondering, would we break the record of 1,400 last year? And her and her team stepped up, and I can't thank you enough for making this so successful. So on behalf of the Comcast Foundation, we would like to present a check to the Las Cruces Public School Foundation, and Leslie, I'll let you talk about what happens with that, but this is the largest check, and I might mention, too, that over the 5 years, this is well over $100,000 over those 5 years that we've contributed, but this is the single largest check, and it's perfect because it was the single largest number of volunteers. So with that being said, I'd like to present a check to the Las Cruces Public Schools Foundation for $26,040.
So members of Nyeta, it's our honor on behalf of Nyeta and Bridget and the board members that are here to let you know we'll be splitting this check with your school. So you'll get half this check, and I'm sure it's in the mail, right, Bridget? You know what, I think if staff would come up and members of the board, if you'd like to take a photo real quick, we'd just like to do that, and thank you for
We all had green.
Mr. Rounds.
We could have worn our green shirts.
Sure.
I didn't need help. I didn't go.
Hey, just a minute, let me. So.
Yes, I can see her. And now you need to get right behind Ms. Hall and Ms. Lotus. Okay. Right? It's okay. I can see you. Yes. And then if you just go just in here. Perfect. Okay. All right. And if everybody, I can't see you. There we go. All right. Take a couple. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Just a couple more. Smile. Thank you. And 1, 2, 3. Good. Thank you.
Superintendent Rounds, I believe that moves us to your report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, if I may take a point of personal privilege, although we had a number of people leave, I still would like to comment on American Education Week. You know, really when you cut to the chase, America is what it is because of what happens in our classrooms. I think all of us are frustrated by a lot of the events that happen around that, but I remind all of us that's been happening since time began. I'd like to mention this week is a special week for us in this district. And American Education Week runs through my birthday, November 22nd. It presents all Americans with a wonderful opportunity to celebrate public education, and it reminds us that our job is to honor individuals who are making a difference in our children's lives. And I would suggest, Madam President, members of the board, that it happens in this district with regularity on a day-to-day basis because of our employees. There's so many individuals who deserve our thanks, it's hard to list them. And I'd like to begin by thanking our Board of Education. Your job is a thankless, helpless job, and you get paid so much. Yeah, so the Boards of Education serve free and spend their time and their efforts to assure that education is right for our kids. And that's an onerous job. It's a job that deserves our respect and our appreciation. Now, these 5 individuals have shown us time and time again their absolute commitment to our children and to our employees and to the job of education. And that deserves our recognition and our support And Madam Chair, I'd also like to thank over 3,600 of our employees who do that job on a day-to-day basis in this district. And do you know they serve 25,000 students? That's larger than the majority of our communities in New Mexico. We need to be cognizant of that large job and that effort. From teachers to custodians to principals, we have a tremendous team of people who are working hard every day to bring our children a true world-class education. I'd also like to thank our partners with NEA Las Cruces and CSEC Las Cruces for their continued partnership. You see, hand in hand, we can take on all the challenges that are before us today. And tomorrow, we'll be celebrating Support Professionals Day, which honors all the people behind the scenes who keep our schools safe, keep us healthy, and who make our schools enjoyable places for our children to learn. So, Madam President, I'd like to focus us on the good news, the good work that happens in this district on a day-to-day basis. And I'd like to express my personal appreciation to those who serve as professionals, fellow professionals with me and other members of your Las Cruces Public Schools team. It's hard work every day. It doesn't get easier, and it's not going to be. But at the end of the day, I'm proud to tell you our dropout rate over the last 6 years has fallen tremendously. Our success rate with children has gone up. We have now given more scholarships to more children every year that we've been here. And that continued trend line is why I have optimism about this nation, about this state, and particularly about Las Cruces, New Mexico. So thank you, members of the board, for your effort. You deserve our praise, you deserve our support, and you deserve our respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent Rounds, and that moves us to the Certified Classified Employee Report, and that was in our packet. Are there any questions from board members? Seeing none, we'll move on to other reports under Finance. We have the first quarter reports from
Mr. Dean.
Mr. Dean, thank you. Sorry, Terry.
That's okay.
He's so forgettable.
I was actually working on another project at the time, so anyway. Included in your packet tonight are the quarterly reports for the district as well as both of the district charters. And first, let's look at the Las Cruces, the LCPS report. The cash report indicated as of the end of September. You remember that the quarterly reports that are submitted to the Public Education Department are basically three components. We have the cash report, the revenue report, and then the expenditure report. The cash report, the district received $55,600,000 approximately in revenue in the first quarter and expended approximately $59 million. We ended the operational cash ended the quarter with almost $8 million of cash. And a total cash in the district of $54.5 million. And let me remind you that over the period of the year, our cash balance will grow, and then when we liquidate all of the summer contracts for the staff, then that balance drops significantly at the end of the year. The expenditure report, again, we had $58.7 million, almost $8 million worth of expenditures. Now, a few items that we need to point out that, and as we have done in previous years, the transportation fund, which is the 13,000 fund, is currently reflecting a deficit position of $960,000. We know that that is the amount of the transportation contract in excess of the funding that we receive from the state. At the end of the year, that will be reclassified to the operational fund. There are a couple of items that, again, we are experiencing slowness in receiving the carryover letters from the state. In Idea B preschool, that fund is also reflecting an almost $19,000 deficit position at this time However, we are expecting the carryover, as well as Idea B private school and Title II. Those are the ones right now that we have our eyes on. Are there any questions in regard to the Las Cruces report?
Board members, any questions?
Okay. That's the next item. In La Academia, included in your packet is the report for La Academia. They ended the quarter with a cash balance of 200, I did not put that in the report. They had total revenue of $359.3 thousand. They had total expenditures of $294.7 thousand. In reviewing the report, the cash report, everything was balanced and it was very clean. I had no questions of the charter whatsoever. I stand for questions on this report.
Any questions from board members?
Also included in your packet is the report for Las Montañas. I'm glad it's in your report because I'm having difficulty finding it. Okay. The Las Montañas report was very clean for the quarter. It was a very clean report. I had no questions of the charter on it that could not be explained. They had revenue of $611,000, almost $612,000. Total expenditures of $583,000. Their cash balance was in a good position. It caused no alarm to me. They had one item as the district. They are anticipating some carryover in the Title I fund. So there was $674 that was, it's in a deficit position on Title I. Due to the carryover letters, that is not unexpected. I had no questions of the charter, and again, the report was very clean.
Are there any questions from board members? That moves us to our next item, restatement to LCPS end of year report.
Mr. Dean.
Madam President, members of the board, included in your packet is a restatement of the district's June 30th, 2012 report. In November, on November 4th, I believe, I threw a fit when I received the email. The Public Education Department changed the indirect cost rate that we charged for last year. In the email, they said, you need to reflect this in your general ledger. Well, if we reflect that in our general ledger, we have to redo all of our reports. So we did make it in time to give it to where we could adjust the financial statements that were given to the auditors. But this is a restatement of the operational cash balance. The net change in the operational cash balance was $1,633. So that was the entire.
That many hours to fix the books.
Yes, ma'am. There was a lot of time and effort to go in to change this for $1,600. Now, as we were doing it, as we were making a correction, we were getting ready to bring to the board a correction because we have Fund 31,600 and 31,700. That revenue was reversed for last fiscal year. We found that as we were preparing the financial statements for the year. So we were going to bring that to the board as a permanent cash transfer to make that correction. However, since we had to restate the year-end reports, it was easier just to restate it in that. So this is also correcting that misposting.
Thank you.
And I
Mr.
stand for
Dean.
questions.
Any questions from board members?
So glad it's not my job.
Thank you for the reports. We'll move on then to instruction.
Dr. Sanchez.
Yes.
Madam President, included in your packet is a required by the federal government monthly meals report, and staff is here should you have any questions.
Any questions on the report?
No question. It will be in the minutes, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam President, members of the board, I am so pleased to be able to bring this item forward today. Mr. Hendy, who we all know is one of our most capable principals in the district, last year was looking at his data and decided that there was something that had to be done to address the persistently low performance rate of many English language learners in the high school, Las Cruces High School. He designed, along with his staff and a team of very dedicated teachers, a program that they call the ELL Summer Academy. Then Director of Dual Language, Mr. Lozano, and I got together with Mr. Hendy and we found the funds to do it. So with that, I'd like for Mr. Hendy and Ms. Michelle Ronga, the IS, to provide us with an overview of what they're doing to better support those students at Las Cruces High School.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Rounds, cabinet members, thank you all for the opportunity to come today. Before we start, it's something you probably already know, but I want to reiterate it, especially after the beginning of the meeting, that there are very good things going on in the schools today. Very good things. There are dedicated teachers doing what they can to help students. And I just think sometimes there's a difficult time to be in public education, but I think sometimes that gets lost. Another thing that I'd like to share is that I've been in this district, it's my 8th year. And whether it's Zia Middle School, or at Las Cruces High School, if a need has come up, if we've identified a need to support students, whether it be a number of different programs we've looked at. I've always had the opportunity to come visit with Mr. Rounds, Dr. Sanchez, folks in the HR building or HR department, and have always been supported if we could identify a need and had a good plan in place. Las Cruces High School last year, we had a plan. Actually, we identified a need, I should say, with the help of the teachers behind me, especially the coordinator of the program, Michelle Ronga. We identified a need of some of our ELL students that were not receiving bilingual services through the bilingual department. They'd been exited, and for lack of a better term, they were floundering on our campus. They were H1, H2 students. They'd been in their first or second year of high school and were significantly behind on credits. And more troubling to us in looking at these students is it seemed as though they were struggling to find their place on the campus, on a campus as vast as Las Cruces High School. And so that was a concern of ours. So we got together, we visited with Dr. Sanchez, and we were able to take a little bit of funding and, in my opinion, do a significant amount of work with this group of students. It's only been 7 months since the beginning of June, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the teachers, give them the opportunity just to share a couple bits of data, maybe some anecdotal evidence for you, and then you'll have the opportunity to ask questions of the teachers, or more importantly, some of the students that decided to come down tonight to share their perspective on the academy thus far. Okay, so with that, as we mentioned, our instructional coach, our instructional support teacher is Michelle Ronga, and she's kind of been the coordinator of that. So we had 5 staff members, the coordinator, 2 math, John Olson and Martin Torres, and then 2 English, we had Sylvia Bustillos, and we also had Cheryl Henry. Cheryl Henry is not with us tonight. She's up in Albuquerque with the EOC group, working that all out. So with that, I will turn it over to, I'm not sure which staff member would like to come up first. And I think, oh, here we go.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. The photo that's up on the screen is we took our students, thanks to Dr. Sanchez, to NMSU for a field trip at the end of our summer academy, and we're able to take them through the campus to see campus living, to see what awaits them when they graduate high school, and then their favorite part was the buffet, but nevertheless. So that's a photo of all of our kids, and one of the things we had given them was a t-shirt that just said Las Cruces High School on it. We had bets about whether they were going to wear them or not, and almost every single one of them wore it. So we had quite a summer with our kids. We've continued our program, thanks to Dr. Sanchez, and funding to be able to continue supporting our kids. We looked at some data from the first 9 weeks of last year to the first 9 weeks of this year, specifically calculating the number of courses passed straight across the board. So last year, first 9 weeks, we had 214 classes passed. This year, we have 280 sections passed, but that did not calculate GPA. Some of the classes that they were passing last year were D- passing. We now have students, some of them with us, who are getting B's and C's and are passing all of their classes for the first time since middle school. So that's one of our greatest accomplishments. We've also looked at alternate placement for some of our students who have been there for quite some time, H3, H4, bordering, needing to find another alternative, and enrolled them in our Power program, which is coordinated by Ms. Henry, who's not here this evening. And then we also had one student who, with financial and family obligations, decided to get a GED and just texted me the other night to tell me she was very proud of the fact that she had finished. So that's some of our data. Another thing that we looked at was the attendance from first 9 weeks of last year to first 9 weeks of this year. What we found, kind of to our surprise, was that I think we're going to find it's going to be more of a sustainability issue with our kids. The first 9 weeks last year, they were present, some sporadically, but I think it was after they were failing their classes, we saw a huge increase in attendance dropping after the first 9 weeks. So we'll look at that again after the semester. But we did look at some of our students who were particularly chronic skippers, as we call them, and I scanned in a copy. This is one page of a student from just the first 9 weeks last year, and the same student who is in our program, it's where the line is drawn, has 5 entries this year in the first 9 weeks. So while a lot of it is, some of it will be over the course of the semester and the year that we'll see for some of our students, this same student is also passing 7 of 8 classes. I'm pretty sure it's mostly because he's in his desk, that he's present and is there for the information. I'm going to pass the advisory section off to Martin Torres.
Hello. Part of the plan for the academy that we talked about was building relationships, making sure they had somewhere to come to, making sure that they felt that somebody cared about them, and they always had somebody to turn to in case they needed somebody for that extra support. You know, we found that building those relationships, especially at the high school level, is vital to keeping those students, those high-risk students in school and helping them be successful. After the summer academy, Las Cruces High School does have advisory. We meet once a week. And so with the kids that came to the summer academy, we then divided them up amongst us and have continued that relationship building. That way, again, they have somebody to turn to, someone that they feel that they connected to, especially after spending the summer with us. We did build those relationships, and we're continuing to build those relationships throughout the next 2-3 years of their high school career. And I'm sure the students will attest to that being a big part of their success this year. Mr. Olson, tutoring?
You can do
it. Oh, okay, you do tutoring. Come on.
So while we don't have the kids for the summer any longer, we've, thanks again to Dr. Sanchez and the funding, we have class twice a week on Tuesdays. These 2 gentlemen help the kids with test prep and working with them. And on Thursdays, Ms. Ronga and I have the kids for the English. So we're continuing that relationship with the kids in a classroom setting. So a little bit more of the class.
Sure, yeah. Good evening. I'm John Olson. I'm a math teacher at Las Cruces High School. And I want to speak to this class that we've designed. Out of the success of the summer program, we wanted to find a way where we could continue to be involved academically in these students' lives at school. So we created a class that happens Tuesdays after school, 3:45 to 5 o'clock, and Thursdays after school, 3:45 to 5 o'clock. And for me, it's amazing to see kids want to come and study after school with us. We have a good group of kids, between 15 and 20, who show up regularly every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesdays we teach math, and Thursdays we're teaching language arts. We call the test a test prep class, but it's really more than just prepping for a test. It's to give them those skills so they can be successful in school, give them those skills so they can be just successful in life when they graduate. Sylvia is going to speak to Enlace.
So I forgot to introduce myself, Sylvia Bustillos. I teach language arts, but I also teach the Enlace class. And when Michelle came to me and proposed the summer school, she knew it was going to be a hard sell because I wasn't willing to give up my summer. But she promised I'd get these kids in my Enlace class, and it has been the best thing that has ever happened. They've now formed a club. I don't know if you all saw the parade, but we coordinated with Mayfield. And we are currently doing research over Google Docs through the LCPS Gmail account and sharing information. I mean, it's just these kids have taken this class into something that I never dreamed it could be. Part of that component is they're involved. They're getting involved in school. these two young ladies, Phoenix is actually the president of the club. They've gone and volunteered to dress a child. We heard the Comcast Care thing. I turned around and said, we do that too. So they're seeing all the opportunities that come from the extracurriculars, which you all know the statistics. If you're involved in something else, you're more connected to school. So this was tremendous getting these kids into this class with me.
So we asked 3 of our kiddos to come with us this evening, and first to speak is Phoenix Lucero.
Hello, I'm Phoenix Lucero. I'm a junior, and okay. I just wanted to start by saying my sophomore year, I got a letter, and it said to come to D40-something for a meeting, and I said, what's this for? And then I got there, and they're like, it's about summer school. I said, no summer school for me. I don't think so. I don't want to do that. So then they said, you know what, try it. It's a good thing. So I said, okay, I'm always up for new things. So I said, okay, so first day of summer academy, I got there all kind of grumpy because I didn't want to be there, taking away my sleep time. But I got into class and I met Miss Bustillos, and she was so full of energy and she was so happy. And I said, wow, why is she so happy? It's summer school. I don't get it. And she was just like, she told us, she's like, I'm here for you guys. Like, my job, like, I'm here for you guys. Like, she's like, I want you guys to succeed in life. And as soon as she said that, my eyes opened up to a whole completely different thing. For me, I'm not excited, like, I'm not really good at math, but Mr. Olson, he completely changed that. I went into his math class and I said, oh, I'm not going to learn anything. It's going to be exactly how my other math classes were. And they weren't. He broke it down step by step, and I said, I'm actually learning something. I'm passing. Each time he handed out a progress report, I couldn't wait to see that A on it. I went home and showed my parents, and I said, look, I finally have an A in something, like in math, something that was the hardest thing to do. And they were so proud. And they're still here after summer. Like, they're still here. Like, for some people who don't have that support system at home, like, they're that support system you have. They push you and they tell you, like, you're doing a good job. Like, they see me in the hallway and they're like, Phoenix, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. And I'm proud of myself. And honestly, I really wouldn't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for their support, for their help, for anything they've done to me. And I'm just so blessed to have been able to to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Ernesto Rosas. I'm one of those skippers that really didn't want to go to school. I didn't really like school at all. And so I went to summer school, which I didn't really like. Waking up here every morning and everything, having teachers excited, like Ms. Bustillos. And then them telling us how to succeed in class, how to be better and everything. It was kind of, I don't know, I didn't really want to go to summer school either, but I was still going until they taught me how to succeed, how to go through everything, how to do math better, how to read, because I don't really like reading, and how to talk better, everything. Having this class and tutoring after school, I think I'm more prepared for each test, for every class. And I think I could read a little bit better. All my grades are better. I don't really like skipping no more. I'm actually excited to go every morning to school. I really like this class and everything. How they help me on my homework and everything to pass every class, and now my grades went from Fs, all Fs, to all As and Bs. And yeah, that'll be all.
That's a good finish.
Hi, my name is Clarissa Guerrero, and I was I was the first student to know about the summer program. When I found out, my parents were actually sending me out of Las Cruces High School to move me to San Andres because they thought that my grades were going to get better. I was going to get a better education just because it's a smaller school, this and that. Like, it's a good school. I'm not saying it's not. But then I was cleaning out my locker. I found a book that was from Ms. Bustillos, and it was a semester late, but I gave it to her. And when she saw me, she asked me, why are you leaving? I was like, oh, well, I'm moving schools. Once I said that, she grabbed me. We ran to Miss Ronga's room. She wasn't there. We ran to Mr. Handy's office, and I told them that I was leaving, that I was one of the students listed to go to the summer academy. And Ms. Ronga told me, call your parents. I have to have a meeting with them right now. You cannot leave. So I called them, and when I called them, my mom said that she was actually leaving out of San Andres, just finished signing me out, because I was starting next Monday, which this was Friday. And I told her, I was like, well, one of my teachers wants to talk to you. And she's like, okay. And so she just came. She didn't know why they wanted to talk to her, but she just came. We had a meeting, and Ms. Ronga and Ms. Bustillos completely changed her mind of actually letting me stay at Las Cruces High School. And that moment, I can say it's one of the best moments of my life, because I know that if my mom wouldn't, if she would have moved me, I would probably be the same. And thanks to that one moment, it changed my life completely. Once I went into the summer academy, we started to do, I had both math classes. Ugh, I don't like math. But I had both A's in both of my geometry and algebra 1 classes. I was so surprised. I've had A's in electives, woo. But my first A's in actually math, a subject that I would always have F, F, F. It was just something so big for me. It opened my eyes, being able to see that I actually can do it. I'm starting the school year. I went from F's and D's to A's, B's, and C's, which was a big change for me. And I have never been more proud of myself than I am right now. And I feel very blessed being able to meet Ms. Ronga and having great teachers around me like Ms. Bustillos, Mr. Olson, and Mr. Torres, knowing that they always have my back, even in the good days and the bad days.
So a positive note. I hope you understand, and I appreciate the time, but it has been it's just been a wonderful thing to see on campus, see a group of students that have been, for whatever reason, marginalized or just not seeming to be successful in a school as big as Las Cruces High School. We've had a very successful run at Las Cruces High School, but regardless, there are kids that still need support. And again, thanks to the administration here at Las Cruces Public Schools. But I have to give a big acknowledgement to the 5 teachers involved in the program, because while there has been some compensation for after hours in the summer program, the time and effort they put in and the heart that they put in to making the connections with these kids has just been something that has just been, in this time of a very interesting time in public education, what you're seeing and what you're hearing tonight is what it's all about. So thank you all very much for your time.
Madam President, I don't know if any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Hendy or the marvelous teachers and the exceptional kids.
We want to say thank you.
Senora Flores.
I just have one question, Mr. Hendy. How many students are in the program total?
We began this summer with 57 began the summer program, currently enrolled in the 4 advisory classes, actually the 5 advisories. We have it split up, but we're still at about what? Are we still at 57?
No, I think we're at
54. We have a couple that have gone into the power program, the evening program, the 1 GED student. So we're still the same, aside from the 3 that have left the day program at Las Cruces High School. We still have the same amount.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to thank you for your work.
Yeah, really.
a lot of marvelous hope, and it's all about relationship building, and thank you for bringing us hope, Mr. Hendy. Madam President, members of the board, tonight it's my honor to introduce Mr. Casillas, the principal of Dolores Huerta Charter School, and their board has passed a resolution requesting that you allow them a change in their charter to relocate their facility. With that, Mr. Casillas, thank you for being with us, and I'll let you address the board at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for calling me president. Never going to forget this moment.
I was thinking United States, you know?
Good evening, everyone. Madam President, Mr. Rounds, Dr. Sanchez, thank you, and the public, buenas noches a todos. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have about our facility, just so that you know. It's not for sure yet. It's all about money at this moment, so we're negotiating back and forth, but if possible, we will be able to locate to 1405 South Solano. At this moment, that carries the title of Church on the Rock. We would be going, and I got to knock on wood because I don't want to jinx all the work we've done for it, but we would be going from 9,700 square feet of instructional space to 25,000 square feet. It's quite a big change. We would be going from 3/4 of an acre to 3.5 acres of land for the kiddos to run around and get tired and sweaty and dirty so they can go back into the classroom. But kids need a place to run, and they need a place to be able to get away from the difficulties of life. And that little land that's adjacent to the facility would really provide them a place to kind of wear themselves out. But I'll answer any questions you may have.
Can you tell us how much work will have to be done on the building to?
Yeah, certainly. We're working with Learning Spaces. Paul Gasconi has been the agent that I've been in contact with since last year. We found this facility last year sometime around March. We would be getting about $800,000 if the deal goes through to bring the building up to E-occupancy. They would be having to add about 4 refrigeration or refrigerated air units so that we could cool the whole school, both the first story and the first floor and the second floor. They would have to add some classroom walls. Right now, I don't know if you guys remember, it used to be a furniture store, so some of the walls are actually what they call pony walls because they don't go all the way to the ceiling. They would have to raise those walls and create additional classrooms. At La Academia, we currently have about 8 classrooms. We would be ending up with about 16 classrooms at this new facility. We have some of the classrooms in La Academia are only about 15 feet wide, 20 feet deep. At this place, every classroom so far, I've been meeting with the architect, we would end up with like 35 feet by 35 foot classrooms. So it's a big change, and we're very excited about it. It's that we're here to for you to grant us permission to relocate. And if it does go through, of course, I'll keep you guys posted. We would be really relocating. If it doesn't go through with this building, I'm still going to continue to work with Learning Spaces because it is my number one goal. It is to get the kids, the school out of that building. They deserve a lot more, and we just can't grow and can't do more for our kids until we have a better facility. With that in mind, though, Las Cruces Public Schools was just, you guys really did so well by the efforts you put into trying to get us a building this past May. I thank you very, very much, and I mean that wholeheartedly, that you guys considered us and you took us into account. It was a very special thing that you did. Unfortunately, we had to decline that. We met with parents, we met with students for many reasons. One of the major ones were that they didn't want their middle school kids around high school kids. That was pretty much the big reason. The other reason besides that was that we were afraid of losing our identity. Identity is big with our kids, and it's big with our school. We would be in a place in the building where We would not be at a corner where people can see who you are. If they can't see you, they may bump into you and then notice you. We would be on the side where we wouldn't have a sign. We wouldn't have a big front entrance welcoming everybody. So it would make it very difficult. The parents declined it. I do what the parents ask because ultimately that's who I work for, the kids and the parents. And the governing council took this into the account and they decided to decline the offer. But that doesn't mean that we're not grateful for your work and your that you guys were doing that for us. It was very, very special. And actually, tonight as I discussed this with you, I also want to touch on the subject that we're renewing our charter with states instead of with the district. The only reason that we are leaving the district is because of the possibility to acquire grant money so that we can grow. You guys have done so much for us, and that is another reason we wanted to go with the state, is we don't want to become a burden to the district. And I feel that at times we have become that. See, we want to exist so that we can maximize the educational opportunities we provide our kids, but without becoming a burden to anybody else, because if you're having to take care of us, then we might as well be another school in your district because you're doing good work with them. So there's no reason for us to be a sovereignty if you're going to have to be taking care of us. I know Dr. Sanchez had to step in and be one of our board members at one time in, I believe, the year 2010. Becoming the leader of the school is not, for me, it doesn't mean anything other than the fact that now I have 150 students, I have 150 kids, I have 150 parents who rely on every decision that I make, and I didn't want that to become your responsibility. It is my responsibility. I am the leader of the school. So going from the district to the state, it's not necessarily saying goodbye to you guys neither, because I still need you. My kids need you. My parents need you. Dr. Sanchez has just done so much for us. He's adopted a mentee he wasn't looking to adopt, but you've done excellent work. I thank you very much. And even every department in LCPS has just been so great to us. It's not, so I don't want you guys to think that we're leaving because we want to sever relationships with you. No. We want to be independent because we want to be a very important additive program in the school, in the district, but we don't want to be a burden to you. We want to be additive. We are working with NMSU as well, as close as I can. Actually, the chemistry department is starting to do presentations at our school. The doctoral students are going to be going in on Thursday, and they're going to freeze a banana, and hope they don't beat me with it, but they're going to freeze a banana and show the kids how hard liquid nitrogen makes items and all these things I don't understand about science. But it is the ultimate goal of La Academia to provide our kids with the exceptional educational program, but it's not your responsibility. It's my responsibility. So, if you don't tell me to shut up, I'm going to go on forever.
Thank you, Mr.
But any questions?
I would like to say to board members that we put this on as a discussion this evening, and I'm going to let board members speak in a minute, but I would like to have some kind of idea of a timeline and when you would need this decision made. And I'm going to first let Senora Flores comment.
Well, I just want to say that we wish you luck, and we feel that you have done an outstanding job with the students, and we hope that the sale goes through and you're able to grow as you want.
Thank you.
Suerte.
Muchas gracias.
Other questions or comments?
Could you lay it out for us?
So Superintendent Rounds, could you give us a timeline here?
And Madam President, members of the board, so let's walk through the timeline just a minute. This is rather awkward since this stated expectation to go to the state as the chartering authority. When you look at the timeline to do due diligence on this request, there's several moving parts. There's some things that weren't mentioned. Number one, as was stated, about 150 to 200 students today. In the new charter application, we understand because of the increase in space, you're targeting 300 students as your capstone number.
Yes, we would only be enrolling actually a total of 250, but we asked for 300 just in case we run into the possibility of housing more students so that we have that leeway, but the ultimate target is 250.
So, Madam President, and that's good planning on their part. I'm not mitigating the planning. The issue becomes the timeline question. So the application for state charter is due 1 December, I believe.
Actually, we,
I've already done it.
yes, we've submitted it October 1st.
So the question that we have to contemplate is whether or not this board is the appropriate approval point for purchase of a building that would be under this charter by the state. The size being served under the approval of the charter of the state, and the public building requirements also under the charter of the state. And it's an awkward issue. We want to work with the administration here, develop a timeline, come back and report to you in our next meeting about those pieces, and then determine with you whether or not it's appropriate for you to take action, or whether we defer this to the Public Education Commission, which is the chartering authority for state charter.
Do we know when the charters are approved, or what's the date?
We have been given a date for our hearing of December 12th. And the Charter School Division has recommended to the Public School Commission that they renew our charter for a term of 5 years. The only problem with that, and I understand why it is that we would have to address this with the state, being that we're going to be with them in the next 5 years. The only issue that I have, or it's something that comes into place, Learning Spaces wants to contract with individual, Don Shockley, to purchase the building as soon as we get our renewal granted for 5 years, because then we have to have about 6-7 months to remodel the facility. The only way we can justify being able to pay them the rent, the lease that they're asking, is if we're able to increase enrollment. And this is very tricky. So your guidance, I will take your guidance and I will work with you guys. We're only expected to be at 180 students the first year. The second year is where we would fall into trouble with the cap, because then we would have to be at 210 students. But by then, we would be with the state for a year, so that Superintendent Rounds is correct. We could request that from the PED for the increase for the recharter. Once we get rechartered, so the only thing that prevents us from doing that is the fact that Learning Spaces wants a contract into place that says, yeah, for the first 3 years, this is what it looks like. First 3 years, we would go from, we're at 151 now, we would go at 180 next year, 210 the following year, 250 in the third year. At that moment, we would be, after the second year, we would be out of compliance if the state decided to not increase our cap. So then Learning Spaces won't enter into a contract with us unless they are certain, because they're not educators, they're investors. I have gone everywhere looking for an investor. I've been playing the lottery. I don't think I'm going to win. It's been over a year, and that hasn't worked. So I understand, and I'm willing to sit with you, Superintendent, and your guidance would be great in how I can best deal with this issue, because my ultimate goal is to get my kids out of that facility. Those of you that have gone to see our current facility understand how difficult it is to teach in such poor states, but I'll do anything you need me to do. I'll work with you guys, because you're not going to be, I'm going to be working with you for a very long time.
Thank you. And if
Madam Chair, I do want to state that we support La Academia, you know that.
Yes.
The issue really are technical issues and tactical issues as far as the authorizing. If the intent of La Academia was to come to you as a charter, we would find that expedient. The problem is that that's not where the request is going. And you've just heard the timeline. It's rather untimely the way this is rolling out. We'll meet soon with La Academia and formulate a plan, and at least report back to the board about that.
Thank you, Superintendent. Senora Flores.
If Madam Chair and Mr. Casillas and Superintendent, if it affects the funding though, and if they need the board's approval, then will we get a chance to do that so that they can move forward?
Dr. Votaw.
Well, I am thinking that we might do a contingency approval of some kind.
That,
Yes.
And I also am thinking maybe he needs to do concurrent applications to the state and to us, so
Well, Madam President, that
allowed
isn't
by state
legal.
law.
And so they've applied to the state of New Mexico, becomes the legal standard for whether or not they're renewed. And so that's the awkwardness of this.
Right.
And with it as a pending application, actually, I have tremendous reservation whether or not you can even legally act upon extending that because of its implications on public school buildings requirements of 2016 and a number of other technical issues that stack itself against this.
At what chance does he have to ask this from the state? If you are granted the state charter, can you go before them immediately and
Madam
ask?
President, I believe in the charter application that we reviewed, this is laid out. And so it's my opinion that they have the ability to have the Public Education Commission both approve their change in size, the building acquisition, which I would think from an investor standpoint, and I haven't talked to the investor, that's one of the things that we will do, because again, we're not trying to impede progress, about the tactical issues of how they might have a surety to the building. You see, if you as a board act to approve this acquisition of the building, which is the request, and then you're not the guarantor, which is what you are if you're the authorizing agent, then they have no guarantee on their contract with any investor, and I don't believe that'll meet muster on the investor side, most probably, but we want to work with La Academia to vet that out. If it's appropriate to bring it before the board to expedite that, you have an opportunity in December to do that, to move that along, but we just simply need to work through the logistics issues.
And you can work with the state too.
We'll be
as you
happy to
ask
work
them.
with the state
Definitely.
also.
Thank you.
And Madam President, Mr. Rounds, I think it's good to make it public that actually this request is coming to the Board of Education at the request of the Public Education
Yes.
Department
Tony
Charter School
Gerlich.
Division, Mr. Tony Gerlich. I had the opportunity to have a long conversation about him, and some of these issues that Mr. Rounds raised did come up. So we will continue those conversations and bring you a report, and then Octavio, we can see what needs to be done December 10th.
Yes, definitely. Anything you need from me, you let me know. Like I tell you, it's you guys have done so much for us. I'm so grateful, and I'm a product of Las Cruces Public Schools. So when I hear around saying, that you're not doing good, I deny that. I counter that because I've got my bachelor's, my master's, my Juris Doctor, and it's not to brag, but you guys have done great work, and I trust you. I know you'll work with us. Dr. Sanchez has done great. So anything you need from us, you let me know, and we'll sit together. And I know that working together, we can find us a good facility that's worthy of our kids. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
That moves us on to operations. We have the construction projects report. It was in your packet this evening. Are there any questions from board members? Being none, we will move on then to our school bus inspectors agreement.
And Mr. Kennedy, if you want to set that up.
Sure, Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Rounds, Larry Altamirano, our Director of Transportation, will address the board and give you the particulars.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Rounds. Beginning of the school year, I came before you and asked approval for an agreement between Southwest Limited and the district to do school bus inspections. For the past 18 years, there has not been a problem regarding the way we process this. However, we got a letter from PED Transportation a few weeks ago stating that this process was illegal and that the inspectors were not insured or did not carry liability. Once again, I'd like to remind you that the district does pay liability to Palms and Associates for the bus inspectors. We have inquired as to why the change, but at this point in time have not received anything. So what I'm asking approval for tonight is you have before you 3 contracts or agreements for the remainder of this school section up to December. We have about 70 buses that still need to be approved. So this approval would allow 3 certified bus inspectors to finish up our inspections as required by the state PED Transportation Department. And then you have 5 agreements for the spring semester where we will go in again and have the inspectors inspect the buses. At this point in time, I stand for question.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the school bus inspectors' agreements. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Those opposed? That moves us on to new business. This evening, we have Ms. Valdespino. I believe we have a discussion about LCPS Nutrition Services warehouse and delivery employees.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, you have before you the approval of the accretion of the LCPS Nutrition Services warehouse and delivery employees into CSEC Las Cruces for the purposes of collective bargaining. We have with us this evening Irma Valdespino, the president of CSEC Las Cruces. Perhaps to make comment about the accretion request. Would you like to do that, Irma?
Thank you, Superintendent Rounds, Dr. Phillips, members of the board. The nutrition services delivery employees came to us and requested for them to be part of the bargaining unit of CSEC LC. So therefore, we began the process. And because the employees, there are only 4 employees, and as per the collective bargaining or the Public Employee Bargaining Act, when it's 10% of the bargaining unit, we request an accretion. So therefore, our staff person, AFT New Mexico Field Representative Judy Johnson, began the paperwork and submitted it to the Labor Board. So now, as it is completed, we are requesting the accretion or the approval of the accretion by the school board for these employees.
Any questions or comments?
I move for for approval of the appreciation of LCPS Nutritional Services warehouse and delivery employees in the CSEC LC for the purpose of collective bargaining.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure the employees are appreciative of your approval, and we look forward to negotiations with them. In addition to that, thank you, Superintendent Rounds, for your remarks about American Education Week and the value of recognizing all employees. I wish the teachers would have stayed here to hear your message. It was very beautiful. May I recommend that you send out an email?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our bond election discussions. Mr. Cassidy.
Madam President, this evening we have 2 items back to back. We have Paul Cassidy here this evening from our bond counsel, or I'm sorry, from our financial advisors. And this evening there are 2 options: adoption of resolution proclamation of a special school bond election and special public school buildings tax election, because there are 2 items. One's for the bonds, one's for your capital outlay purposes, your House Bill 33 renewal. And the second then is the adoption of the resolution that actually authorizes and directs the school election. So if I may, I'd like to turn to Mr. Cassidy to lay the groundwork for each.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. How's that? Is that working?
I think we may be on.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. The 2 items were summarized by the superintendent. The first item is the election resolution. The resolution before you has been prepared by the Cuddy Law Firm, who represents the district as the bond counsel. We're the financial advisor in connection with bonds for the district. We've reviewed it, It calls for two elections questions to appear on the ballot. One is a $65 million general obligation bond issue. This bond issue would not require a tax rate increase. It is the amount of bonds that we anticipate we can issue, or the school board can issue over the next 4 years without a tax rate increase. We're currently 73% bonded to capacity, and we expect to continue to remain right about 70 to 75% bonded to capacity. So plenty of room left. But the important concept is this is the borrowed source of money for the district's capital program to meet the facility master plan needs, which is constantly being reviewed. The second question is the House Bill 33, our public school capital improvements tax question, and that is generally a cash flow source of money for the district's facility master plan. 3 mills is what is currently imposed by the district pursuant to voter approval. And we can approve this every 6 years. So these are 6-year cycles compared to the bond's 4-year cycles. And so this, we will ask the voters to reapprove without a tax rate increase. So that's the first resolution. It directs the election will be held the first Tuesday in February 2014. Directs when voters who want to vote have to be registered to vote. A lot of details are contained in that election resolution, as well as when absentee voting begins. The second resolution directs certain procedures at the direction of the board be given to the county clerk as required by state law, directs the superintendent to take the election resolution to the county clerk, and sets forth the form of the ballot that it be included, and then includes all the election timeframes, dates that have to be complied with, which will be done by Cuddy as well as the county clerk. So we recommend the board approve both those items. And again, this is a continuation of a process that has been in place for many election cycles and years. No tax rate increase.
We have a motion for our first adoption of resolution proclamation of special bond school election and special public school buildings tax election. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second, and then this, Mr. Davis, is a roll call vote.
Is it roll call vote? Okay. Ms. Hall?
Aye.
Senora Flores?
Aye.
Dr. Votaw?
Aye.
I vote aye.
I vote aye, and that motion passes. Then I would like to ask for a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing and directing the school election procedures.
So moved.
Second.
And again, a roll call vote.
Okay. Ms. Hall?
Aye.
Senora Flores?
Aye.
Dr. Votaw?
Aye.
I vote aye.
I vote aye, and that also passes.
Thank you, Madam President. The next item on the agenda, Madam President, we're asked Mr. Cassidy to also address you, and that is the adoption of the resolution authorizing the sale of our general obligation school bond series from 2013. Now, the board will remember that at our last meeting, we asked you to authorize us to put it out to sale. Today, we've received the bids on that sale, and Mr. Cassidy will report to you about that. It requires your action to authorize us to go ahead and commit to the sale of the bonds. Mr. Cassidy.
Thank you, Mr. Rounds. Madam President, members of the board, we did receive competitively bid interest rates on the $10 million of general obligation bonds, the final installment of bonds approved by the voters at the February 2010 election. We had received 6 bids received, and if we could go to the first page for those of you, and one more page if you would. 6 bids were received at a competitive sale this morning. The best bid was submitted by Morgan Stanley with an average true interest cost, or TIC, of 3.045%. The second best bid was Piper Jaffray at 3.05, and you can see bids went as high as 3.21%. We were thinking that bids would come in at the 303 to 304 rate when we looked at that last week. And so it's within what we expected. And if you can turn the page, I'd like to take you through the next slide. Thank you. The issue size is $10 million, In addition to 10 million, the bidders bid a $500,000 premium. Bonds mature 2014 to 2029. The rating on the bonds, I'll go through some of the highlights, is the district's underlying rating is AA2, and there's an enhanced AA1 rating given because the state guarantees the timely payment of principal and interest. And because of that, Moody's can get to a AA1 rating. I want to make the point, though, that the Moody's has assigned the AA2, confirmed that historic rating, but removed a negative outlook that has been on the district's rating since 2010, when the district's cash balance fell, below $5 million. And I just want to congratulate the board and the district for really restoring the cash balance and carrying it forward. And you've built it to a comfortable level, and with a goal of having 5 to 8%. Emergency cash on hand, you just never know what's going to happen. And so you went through a tough time. You've got the rating restored to its full level with no outlook negative imposed. So the average rate is 304, and interest cost to the taxpayers, $2,997,473, which will be paid over the 17-year life of the bonds, plus the principal, for a total of $12,997,000. The best bidder was Morgan Stanley, New York. And the next page, please. And this is the actual debt service schedule for the bonds. The next page, please. And I like this slide because in the yellow area on the left, if you were buying bonds as an investor today for the Las Cruces Public Schools, the 1-year maturity would yield 0.23%. So, this is what investors are willing to accept as a yield, very, very low yield because of the high credit rating. The 17-year maturity is 3.77. So, very, very good yields, almost close to the AAA rates by 6 to 30 basis points. And this is in line with what we expected. The spread, or what the brokerage firm made, was $1.76 per thousand of bonds, which is very, very low. So competitive sales turned out well. The next page, if you could. And this is a history of the sale results of district bonds since 1991. And I can go back to about 1987, and I don't know what happened to that on the slide, but we're still at very, very low interest rates. The very low spikes on the bottom were very short refundings we did. But last year, our bond sale result was 341. This year, rates are even lower at 3.04. So we continue to do very, very well. And the next page, please. Thank you. The election timing, I wanted to review this, although the board's acted on it already. The issue size is $65 million for the next election. We plan to sell it in installments, 2014 through 2016, 17, without a tax rate increase. And the other point on this page that we haven't covered is the 2 mil levy election, which is another cash flow source, would need to be approved in 2016. That would be the next election. And with that, if you could turn the slide, please. Thank you. There's a detailed election schedule here for those interested. I won't cover that. Next page, and the next page. This shows the rating of Las Cruces schools compared to all New Mexico school districts. And if you like bell curves, where we fall is on the left-hand side of that in the AA2 category. We're among the 4 highest rated school districts in New Mexico. Albuquerque and Santa Fe are a little higher because of the wealth levels and the size of the tax base, nothing more than that. So AA2 is an excellent rating. The average rating for a New Mexico school district is in the A1 category, which is a whole level down, and A1 rated districts would pay a lot more without that state credit enhancement program compared to us. And I think I'll stand for questions, Madam President, members of the board, but I've recommended to the superintendent that you do accept the bid as presented today before standing for questions.
Do board members have any questions?
I move for adoption of the resolution authorizing the sale of general obligation school bond series 2013.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. And a roll call vote, please, Mr. Davis.
Ms. Hall.
Aye.
Senora Flores.
Aye.
Dr. Votaw.
Aye.
I vote aye.
I vote aye, and that resolution passes.
Thank you very much, and thank you, staff members who helped. There's a lot of work that had to go into this, and your staff worked very hard on this.
So we want to thank Mr. Cassidy and RBC Capital Markets. They're a very good financial advisor, and with their help, we've been able to slay the dragon of the negative direction we were heading and turn the corner back into a position we want to be in. So thank you, Paul, for your hard work. They're an excellent company, and he's an excellent professional.
And thank you. I would like to thank you again for how clear you are with the information that you give us.
Thank you, Madam President.
We appreciate that.
Madam President, this time I would like to, if it's appropriate, to move to item 5A5. And this is the introduction of the Bond Election Blue Ribbon Committee Chairperson. And I just saw her slide in the door a minute ago, which is great. Shirley, would you mind coming forward, Shirley O'Brien? So Ms. O'Brien has graciously accepted the position as the chairperson for the Bond Election Blue Ribbon Committee this year. Ms. O'Brien is a former LCPS teacher and administrator. She's the proud parent of twin daughters who happen to attend Centennial High School, our newest. She's a longtime LCPS and community volunteer who has served on the board of directors of many local nonprofit organizations and has also volunteered on behalf of numerous fundraisers. And Mrs. O'Brien currently serves as the vice president of the LCPS Foundation Board of Directors. And she and her husband, Jeff, are the owners of Arroyo Medical Supply and Mesilla Valley Kitchen. So this evening we want to recognize Ms. O'Brien, thank her for stepping forward to help us with this very critical next step. And I'm not sure if you want to make any comments to the board, but thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm loud enough, I think, without the mic. But just quickly, I'd like to say I'm really looking forward to chairing this committee. It is an honor and a privilege. I'm a huge supporter of LCPS. I see lots of great things happening. It's nice to be on the other side with my own children. I was always a huge supporter before, but I see many, many great things, and I think it's really important for us to give back to our communities and make sure that not only our children today are taken care of, but our future children. So, thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for taking on the important responsibility. We appreciate it.
Madam President, at item 6, we have a first reading of policy DJ on procurements. Mr. Dean is here to reflect on that policy for you. And we will be asking you to adopt this in December to meet a January 1st deadline. Is that correct, Mr. Dean?
That is correct.
And Madam President, this is, and members of the board, this is to meet new state procurement regulations. So this is really one of those alignments to state regulation. Mr. Dean.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Rounds, in the 2013 legislative session passed SB 182, in which requires all school districts as well as state entities to appoint a chief procurement officer. That's one of the components of that. This particular policy change inserts a statement under Section 3, Item B, that designates the purchasing director as the chief procurement officer for the district, which is the role that he currently plays. It just has to be noted in policy as such. As Mr. Rounds indicated, this policy is on a short timeline. With today's reading, it has been passed through the Finance Committee for review, and it is scheduled for approval at the December meeting. And it will be posted on the website for comment.
We had a chance to look at it in our packet. Are there any questions? Thank you, Mr. Dean. We'll move on then to old business. We have a third reading and approval of policy ADF wellness for students and staff. Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This is the third reading of this revised policy. As is our practice, we post things for public comment. Staff did have a chance to carefully look at the policy after second reading and suggested some very minor changes for the board to consider, and that's why we took it off of consent. Summary of the changes follows. Under position 3A2, we will strike ensuring and add supporting. Under position 3A6, strike ensuring and add promoting, since we want to promote this staff wellness policy. And under position 3A10, we added a statement that reads, add promoting staff wellness through district programs or services in order to support and or improve the mental, emotional, behavioral, and social health of staff members. Felt that that was an important statement to add to our overall policy. Other than that, Madam Chair, no other changes were made except the one that was made after first reading, and we would request adoption of this policy as presented.
I move adoption of the policy as amended.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Then all in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? That policy has...
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board.
That moves us on then to board member reports. Do we have reports this evening? Senora Flores?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I attended the first Centennial High School Academic Awards and enjoyed the new venue. It's exciting to start with the new school, and we are starting with the graduating class this year. I joined an IPE class in Connie where I gave out books and got one in return for my grandson. We did a nice exchange there.
That's nice.
I know. I didn't expect anything back. I also visited with Mr. Barrio and Miss Merrick for a writing period and centers. There was an open door between them, and students floated back and forth during centers, and this is one of the two of the jump classes at Conley. I was invited to sit in on Enlace for 2 periods at Mayfield with Mr. Morales, and the students shared with me about the program, and the room was permeated with a sense of family, caring, and respect for where everyone was at. I think we saw that example also with Las Cruces High School. They had each other to help through all the obstacles, and they did talk about their obstacles, and there were many, but they said that they knew that in that classroom they could help each other out. It was a good experience. I had a tour of the bus yard, thanks to Mr. Altamirano, and met many of the bus drivers and saw the process of checking in. It was good to visit and see how our students are transported. There are 44 special needs buses and 18 spare buses. I attended a Don't Meth With Me presentation at Zia Middle School, 6th graders, and it's put on by the Rotary Clubs of Las Cruces, and I learned some things about the ravages of this particular addiction. And I want to thank Mr. Mel Parrish, one of the Rotary members, who works really hard to put this in all our middle schools. I got to participate in a Beat Hunger parade put on by the Honor Societies of Las Cruces High School and Mayfield High School, and it was a beautiful day to be in the parade. We had 2 great conversations facilitated by Randy Harris at Centennial High School and Nyeta High School. Dr. Phillips was there with me also. It was a very easy and gratifying way to hear what students have to say and find out what is troubling them and what is working. Many thanks to the students, the staff that helped arrange the schedules, Leslie, thank you, and all who participated. I visited briefly with the IP Principals Dialogue at Mesa Middle School, and then shortly after we all attended the great graduation of parents, about 270 parents that graduated from the program. The gratitude and genuine stories were overwhelming. It is a great success for all involved, and thank you to Olga Hawkins for all the work she does. I also attended the meeting with the School Transition Response Team at White Sands Missile Range with Mr. Cannon and Dr. Sanchez, And that was very informative to see how much work goes into the welfare of our soldiers' families and the students. I didn't get to visit the school, but it was nice to be out there. Finally, I visited with Miss Fernandez and Miss Ontiveros in their jump classes at University Hills. The environment was great in both of their classrooms and throughout the school. The campus looks great, and there was a gentle hum of work in progress. It just felt really nice to be there. I also ran into Mesilla Valley Christian students that were reading with the students there as a service project. I talked to the mom that was there. They were out in full force throughout the district helping other students. And that's just a sign of how well sometimes our schools work together, even if we're going from private to public. So I thank them on everyone's behalf. And that was busy enough.
Thank you, Senora Flores. Ms. Hall?
Just to hit a few things that I've had the privilege of visiting this past few weeks. I went to the District Advisory Council along with Dr. Votov. The excitement and all the interest that the people who were there presented was really, really great. Bridget and Jaime did a great job of coordinating it, and they didn't have much of a chance to talk because people were jumping right in. Yesterday at the Foundation Board meeting, the board voted to support and institute a spelling bee program so that the winners of the spelling bee here in Las Cruces don't have to go to El Paso, so that we can have our own people going from New Mexico, from southern New Mexico, instead of the Texas area. Teachers' grants are coming in, proposals for those are coming in. The Celebration for Excellence dinner is already being prepared for. I also attended a Don't Meth With Me presentation at Lynn, which was most interested. The kids were very interested to hear what was being said, and there were lots of yucks seeing what happens when you mess with meth. Anyway, I attended the Veterans Day at Conley with Dr. Phillips, and that was well done. Jumped into elite area over at that program and hope to get back this next day or so, or next week or so. And I had the wonderful chance to visit in a Gomez y Gomez classroom, kindergarten classroom at Jornada. And I swear if I could spend another week there, I would really be good in Spanish, much better than I am. It was a great, great classroom. That's just some of the stuff I got to do.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
I got a list, but it seems to break down into activities with parents, and that is the advisory council and the IPE. Went to Doña Ana to the IPE training class and then to the graduation. And I see great promise in this effort to engage parents with their children's education. I think it will be a very, very beneficial program. I've been to some teacher development activities. I went to the New Mexico Science Teachers Association and Math and Environmental Education Conference at Centennial. Saw a lot of people there I knew a long time ago. This science business has been going on for a while, and enjoyed that a lot. And then I've been going to the teacher leadership training that Dr. Marufo was doing, and I'm enjoying that. That's a good set of information, and it's very, to me, when I hear our professionals in this district talking about the work they do, there is a level of sophistication in their dialogue that I think is very exciting and to me very, very stimulating. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. I went to legislative dinner, as did we all, and I've been to the League of Women Voters to hear Senator Bill Soules talk. And I guess that we are unavoidably engaged in education as politics, which I don't particularly like or aspire to continue doing. So that's my editorial for the night.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes, that's it.
Mr. Davis?
I have nothing to say other than as we as a group all went to the IPE graduation, I found it very stimulating to see all the community involved, and I really honestly believe it's a very worthwhile program, and I hope that we will continue expanding it to the other schools there, because this is what we need is parental involvement.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Yes, Senora.
I'm sorry, and I have one more thing to say, and I heard the teachers asking for a public forum. I would like to see if we could manage to do something of that nature. I know Dr. Vota's not interested in the politics of it, but I think it's important to listen to our teachers as much as possible and our staff. I think it only enhances the work that we do. So that's my request.
I'd like to add to Mr. Davis's comment about the IPE graduation. Thanks to the facilitators that work hard at, and to Olga Hawkins and Delilah Morales. I also want to thank the high school students that came and made that a very nice evening. We had students from Las Cruces, Mayfield, Nyeta, and they all participated and helped make it a very nice evening. Many of the things that I did in the last month, others have already mentioned. I'm going to go through a few of them. The parade was fun. I want to thank Dr. Sanchez and Dr. Marufo for joining us in that parade. It was nice. The dinner at Centennial High School for accreditation. Several of us were there, and again, thanks to those students that had beautiful music entertainment, and the students served us a great dinner. So it was very nice to be at Centennial High School. Also, being at their academic awards, this was their first time to have academic awards, and congratulations to those students, and they did a nice job of giving out those awards. The Conley Veterans Day was very nice, and I want to thank the White Sands Base Commander came and joined us, and I think it's very nice when we have that connection with White Sands. Also, Mr. Davis and I had an audit committee meeting. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for joining me with that committee, and those findings will be reported to the board soon. And so the rest of you will hear those audit findings that we also heard. And thank you to Mr. Dean for all the hard work you do to go through those audits.
Madam President, can I make one comment? I know that Senora Flores talked about forums for the teachers and with the concerns that are here. I'd like the board to know that we were approached by the Public Education Department for a public discussion regarding teacher evaluation. I believe the date is December the 12th. December the 12th. And so, at least in that regard, we have something in the process, Madam President. And I know that you as board members will receive, once that's solidified, a invitation to attend. But I wanted the board to know that is one item. It may not suffice to the request, but just want to know that that's in play. It is co-sponsored by the state PTA also. The request actually came from the PTA to the district with support from PED.
Madam Chair, will they allow public input then at that point? Is that what it's for, to hear what everyone has to say?
Madam President, our understanding is that that's the intent of the PTA, but again, we're not in charge of the agenda.
I understand.
But I believe that's what the plan is.
Good to know.
I also, each board member has decided to visit different initiatives that are in progress in the district, and I visited Dr. Oxford and learned about their online learning. I believe I will keep that report for the next meeting since we're running so late this evening, and I'm going to move ahead to upcoming events. There are a few things I want to make sure you're aware of. On Thursday, November 21st and Friday, November 22nd, we'll be serving Thanksgiving lunches at the schools. If you'd like to join, please let Leslie know, and she will make sure she sets up a school for you to serve lunches. Also, please remember we have a joint work session with the City of Las Cruces on December 3rd. That's from 1 to 3. And I wanted to talked to the board about the venue for that meeting. We talked to the city, and if you remember, the city has a little bit more space than we do. So I'm asking board members if you feel comfortable if we have it at the city venue so that we have a little more space, even though it's our turn to host. They've agreed to have it there if it's all right with board members.
That's good, because they have better microphones.
Okay, good. Then that will be in the city chambers on December 3rd. Don't forget the NMSBA conference in Albuquerque, December 6th and 7th. We have a board retreat on December 9th at 9 a.m. and a regular board meeting on December 10th at 6:30 p.m. Are there any other questions or comments?
I move for adjournment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.